Welcome to Solar Expanse, builders. This is a space management logistics game that has been out in early access for a couple weeks. I didn't have time to check it out when it launched, but picked it up and have been enjoying it quite a bit, actually. It is definitely an early access title. There's a lot more to come. You can check out the roadmap here. So some of this stuff like the megastructures and advanced space stations seem really cool to me. Looking forward to that quite a bit, but it's definitely in a playable state. I haven't had any technical problems or anything. So I think we're going to do a bit of a playthrough. This is a slow burn, space pun intended, game. So this isn't exactly going to be like action packed, but it's definitely a thoughtful logistical management. If you like orbital mechanics and launch windows, and if any of that excited you, this is definitely going to be something for you. Let's go ahead and start a new game. We play as a, I guess, corporation or space agency. We have SolX, we have NASA, ESA, the CNSA, and Roscosmos. The starting bonuses don't matter much. Basically, you get some techs and you get a building of some sort. But beyond that, it's not like they have any unique technologies or really that much of a difference at the beginning. It kind of is going to be that first initial like Earth to Mars section of the game. And then probably by the time you're done with that, you have already kind of like closed the gap or worked your way around your starting position. So that being said, I do like the SolX. At the forefront of private sector and aerospace, SolX has been making strides thanks to their first truly reusable launch vehicles. While they're undoubtedly revolutionized the industry, can they succeed in their grand ambitions? The reason I like this one, if you add up all the starting techs, this is worth the most. We get improved reusable rockets and we get Hydrox engines, so we can make fuel out of water, basically. Quite nice. Very good. In the early game, especially when we're going to be launching a lot of rockets off of Earth, this just makes it way less painful than it otherwise might be. We get to start with additional fuel production. Again, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter much, but in the early game, especially if you want to hit some early launch windows, that can be kind of nice. Just to show them off, NASA gets nuclear power and propulsion. The ESA are good with electric engines, and they start with a little extra computing technology. That does translate into a little bit of a research advantage. So of the starting bonuses, ironically, this is actually one of the better ones. They do start with a research lab, but we're literally just going to build one. So it's not that big of a difference, but that computing technology is not a cheap technology. And it's something that in the early game, you really don't have time to go out of your way to get. And it's just like a percentage bonus to research. So it does give them a little bit of something. The CNSA, this is the Chinese space agency, gets improved mining. Again, nice to have and something you probably wouldn't go out of your way to get, but you're going to be making up so much lost ground everywhere else. They also start with some mining facilities, but I don't believe that they get their licensing fees waived. Turns out you can't just mine anywhere on Earth that you feel like mining, so you have to pay a big licensing fee. So I don't know how much of a bonus that really is. And Roscosmos starts with space farming, a tech you're going to need to get relatively early, but so they just spend all that time getting the other techs that we have already. So I don't know. I'm not super impressed. I do hope all these get a rework. I'd love to see a little bit more of a unique something to give it like the NASA tradition or Roscosmos legacy or some sort of bonus that gets it a little more unique. And maybe I don't know. It's hard because you don't want to push somebody to like lock in a play style, but I don't know. They just seem very generic. We're going to play generic SolX. Again, I like those reusable rockets. At the moment, we only have the realistic solar system. I will definitely say I'm really looking forward to other systems and especially random. That would really make my day because we're going to do a lot of the same things in any playthrough because it's the realistic solar system. We're going to go to the moon, then we're going to go to Mars, then we're going to go out to the belt. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some variety in there somewhere, but overall, yeah, it's going to be a little bit linear, but that's all right for our first playthrough. As you play further in the game, you can unlock other starting positions. We only have early exploration. I did have Expanse unlocked. This must be tied to a save game and having a game at that point because I have lost it apparently, but that's okay. We were going to start in early exploration anyways. We're starting in 2020 and apparently a nicer 2020 than the rest of us had. With many of the new competitors going to space, both private and national, a second space race is coming, looking not merely to explore the frontier, but to put a man on Mars, but to reap the riches of the solar system. From planetary bases to asteroid mines, a new space economy shall be born. Can you secure your place in it? We are going to play at Pioneer difficulty. This is essentially normal. You can obviously go harder or easier. It's a 50% multiplier on everything. I do think once you've learned the game, Veteran probably feels better, but we're going to play on Pioneer. We get $5 million to start. What a huge budget for a space agency. They probably could sneeze $5 million. I'm going to turn off the tutorial, but I don't think it actually turns off the tutorial, weirdly enough. And we have rival corporations. I'm actually going to turn those on. Ironically enough, I think having more rivals actually makes the game easier. We mainly get our funding through fulfilling contracts in the early game, but I assume that those dry up at some point. So we're going to have the ability to sell things to other corporations, and that, I believe, is how we're going to actually make our money. Go ahead and load on in. I will also point out, this is another unfortunate situation where the game is using licensed music that they don't have the rights to on YouTube. Like, that's not a sketchy thing. It just means that if I was to upload the game music, it would ding my video because the license owner will claim the videos. So we are using some of YouTube's free music to give us some sounds in the background. Very unfortunate. Game companies really need to figure that one out. That's all I can say there. All right, important information. Welcome, Director. Your mission is to lead us in the conquest of the solar system and beyond. We're about to schedule our first flights into space, then to the moon and other planets. Eventually, we'll colonize, terraform, and perhaps one day venture into the stars. I'll be your assistant. Look for tutorial information in the top left. We have a contract here, a piece of feedback for the dev. These should be draggable. I want to be able to move this around. That'd be really nice. First orbit. We're ready for our big launch. To start off, we'll need to put a brand new space telescope in low Earth orbit. It will let us look above and beyond and scout out suitable locations for future missions. So we need to develop a space telescope from Earth directly to Earth orbit, and we need to observe Lunar, the moon. And we're going to get 15K if we do that. Okay. All right, just to go through our UI here, this is our logo as Sol X. We have contracts. These are various goals that are going to be set for us. You don't necessarily have to do what they want, but like I said, that's going to be our main source of income. We're not making just generic cash. We have notifications as things happen. We will get there. Our speed buttons. In the early game, I actually play very slow, but later on when you're doing big projects like, say, terraforming, you probably have to do a lot of fast forwarding. We're in the better, apparently this is the timeline divergence. We're in 2020 in January 3rd, and it's going to go a lot better than ours did, let me tell you. We can search for objects. These are all the things in here. You can see there are various asteroids, various meteors, etc., etc. Right now, the ones that matter for us is basically Earth, Earth orbit, Luna, Luna orbit, and I suppose Mars and its moons. Now, one thing I did learn, you can grab a object from there and you can put it as a favorite, which will let you grab it from here. So I could click here to go to Earth. I can click here to go to Luna orbit. You're going to do a lot of orbit stuff in the early game. So I'm just going to add, which one did I already do? Luna. I'm just going to add those orbits as favorites because we are going to be going back to those a lot. Now let's not put Mars in there yet. That's getting a little ahead of ourselves. Okay, if we were to click on the planet, this is our interface. So it defaults to showing my stuff, but we can look at everyone else. We're not like super secret organizations or anything, so we can see what they're up to and what they have. So if we look at, say, the ESA, here's their research lab that they started with. We all start with basically the same position other than that starting building. For us, we started with a fuel refinery. Not the best, not the worst. It's fine. Below that is our resources. These are things that we own. We each have our own supply, and then there is a world government which owns stuff, and you can buy off of them. If we look at the market, this is a shared market between us and the other companies. So things like alloys may very well sell out. And there's a distinct possibility in the early game I'm going to try to buy up all the alloys just to A, put a little crimp in my competitors, and B, one of the things, ironically, the better you get at this game, I've done a couple little practice playthroughs up to about Mars, the better you get, the more the world government runs out of resources. They cannot be relied upon to supply us. We need a strong corporate structure to take us to the stars, and we're going to do that. Beyond that, we have resource deposits. On Earth, this doesn't matter as much, although you can literally take everything and there'll be nothing left. So if you are doing some mining of your own on Earth, it will subtract from these deposits. If we look here, here's some metal. There are 10 kilotons of metal that we can access. Here's a different deposit. This is, well, these are both underground deposits. This one is lower access level. These are essentially how easy is it to get to that stuff. So a 1.0 would mean you'd get 100% efficiency. A 0.01 means we have a, what is that, 1,000% efficiency. So quite bad. We can't see it yet, but we'll have like deposits on the moon, for example. We already kind of suspect that there's some helium-3, and we don't know what else is there. We have to use a telescope, and we can discover deposits, but we don't know any details. Like we could say, hey, that planet has oxygen. We can tell from our various readings and sensors, et cetera, but we don't know how easily accessible it is. We'll need to send probes to go actually discover things like that. Next up, we have spacecraft. These are going to be your vehicles that move around in space, distinct from launch vehicles. These are like the multi-stage rockets that we use to throw things into space. If you know anything about space, gravity sucks. And getting something from the surface of Earth into orbit is way harder than, say, even flying out to Mars, frankly. It's that gravity well that you have to dig your way out of. This is very similar to Terra Invicta. If you enjoy like the logistics of that and boost and things like that, you'll probably enjoy this too. So kind of the same concept here. In that game, these launch vehicles would have been boost. We also have planned missions. A very good system. We'll be seeing a whole lot of it, but essentially you don't necessarily even need to have the things finished to be able to plan for launches and things like it. It works pretty well, although I will say we're going to get a lot of missions at some point that are planned and repeating, etc. Beyond those, we have exploration. These are observatories. We do start with one on Earth that we own. I'm going to go ahead and set them to get started looking at the moon. We have our planning for missions. This is just a summary of all my missions that are going on. We have our tech tree. Not a bad tech tree. I mean, again, I'm going to make some comparisons to Terra Invicta just because that's, the thing that we've done most recently that is relevant, but not a tiny tree either. And these are not like 10-day researches. Some of these are like years of research, especially at the beginning of the game where we don't have a lot of bonuses. So let's just go through it a little bit on the light side. I'm sure we'll come back in here and talk about it quite a lot. Computing is research speed. Electric propulsion. These are kind of the ESA's advantage in the early game. Generally, these use noble gases as their propellant and then electricity. They can be good, but noble gases are pretty rare. Just the way that space was formed, you don't end up with a lot of noble gases because they're just so heavy on the elemental chart. And yeah, something like water or hydrogen is going to be much more common. So while these are good, they can be hard to refuel once you get away from Earth and the couple other easy deposits that you can get. But on the other side, they're very light, which makes them nice and efficient. We have electromagnetism. This is kind of supporting techs more than anything else. Again, we'll look in more detail when things become more relevant to us. Nuclear power. This is what NASA would start with. They would have these first two. The problem here is these are stupid heavy, like stupid heavy. If you want to use these in any capacity beyond, I don't know, maybe Mars, you're really going to need to get some of these upgrade techs that make them way more efficient. I do appreciate that the techs in this game are like really chunky. Like here's 100% velocity boost. Here's a a 35% thrust enhancement. Big, nice, chunky techs. I was very strongly considering doing NASA, but I think we'll have a more interesting early game because we can actually throw a lot of stuff into space early here. We will probably go down this route relatively early, though. Observation. These are telescopes, space telescopes, etc. Power. This is power generation. We do start with solar cells, and none of the other ones. Not too relevant at the moment. I'm sure we'll come back to those. Fusion theory. These are really good engines. They are an offshoot from the nuclear stuff, and definitely something we'll want to get into. They do move over to using helium-3, which, again, we do have some on the moon. Could be interesting. Yeah, look at this. If I wanted to get started with that, though, we would need to go all the way down here to start getting helium-3 extraction. Just for reference, 900 days of research and 5,520. So not anytime too soon here, unfortunately. Next up, we have chemical propulsion. This is our expertise as Solex, our privately held company by the builder equity funds. So we have all the way from down here on chemical propulsion. We had solid fuel rockets. We had Carolex, Methalox. We are on Hydrolox, which is great because that's nice and easy to produce fuel. And then next up would be solid hydrogen. This would be a nice tech to grab, but 2,000 days of research. So not something we can afford yet. Launch facilities. We have the launch facility and we have a launch pad. These make it cheaper to throw stuff into space. And then we get a little more sci-fi with like spin launchers. Launch vehicles. This is where our huge tech advantage comes from. For whatever reason, we get all the way up here into improved reusable rockets. I guess this is our ability to catch rockets on re-entry. Very, very nice tech. Unlocks the rotary launcher if we did want to go get that. Coming down from there, we get the Falcon and the Eagle for launch vehicles. Very, very, very nice. Really, really good vehicles, especially the... Oh, I think it's the Eagle is the workhorse here that we're going to mainly be using. Materials, again, kind of some unlocking tech. Also industrial things, being able to produce stuff in space. Mining, we can mine various things. I think this is the one that the Chinese start with, or maybe it's this one. Again, nice, like nice to get extra resources, but they're gonna have to catch up so much in other areas. I think you could just start with somebody else and just beeline this if that's what you wanted to do. Solar sails. These are super efficient because you just use solar wind essentially to get pushed, but we don't start with them. Something that we may want to look at relatively early. Spacecraft. This is where we are going to start. We are going to start here unlocking the Stratos. This is very similar to the, might even be the vehicle that they showed in like The Martian. So this is a space shuttle analog, essentially. It's a reusable ship. It does have its own engines, not good enough to get out of gravity, but good enough to boost around in space or get off a low gravity situation. We also have the Iris. The Iris is basically just like a box in space. This doesn't move around very many things, but we can use it to send probes, for example. We are definitely going to start on Stratos, and apparently we only need 60 days for that. Apparently it's a relatively well-known tech here. Now, after that would go up to the Hermes. I actually don't like the Hermes because this is an electric engine, and that is not what we are good at, unfortunately. In fact, I don't think any of these are particularly great. Yeah, true nuclear rocket. This would be if you were going as NASA, maybe. I do like the 800-ton cargo capacity. But yeah, not for us in the moment. These are very expensive techs. Changing up to these bigger rockets will be a very long-term goal. Another thing we are going to want relatively early is going to be this expanded cargo bay. So we would need, yeah, all we need is the Stratos, and we're going to unlock that. I am vaguely tempted to grab this super duper early. 960 days is what, 3 years? So our first major window in 2020, in March, there was a window for optimal launches to Mars. And then after that, it's 2024. So if we grab this and we were shooting for the 2024 date, we could get it. We could get it. but I would not be getting anything else in the meantime, and maybe I'm okay with that. Let's add that to queue. I can always come in here and change it up later. Because 50% bonus, the Stratos has 100 tons of cargo space. Taking that to 150 is actually huge, and it doesn't cost me anything. It's just an efficiency gain. That would be pretty darn nice, I will definitely say. Next up is biotech. This is the Roscosmos start. You have biotech, which unlocks space farming. I'm going to go ahead and add that next to my queue. Again, we may come back here and mix this up, but with space farming, with some carbon and some water, we can create food, or I think this game calls it supplies, because it kind of is an all-encompassing food, water, I'd imagine some medicine, oxygen supplies, carbon dioxide scrubbers. It's kind of an all catch that's just represented by hydroponic farms. It's an all right abstraction. I don't mind it. Life support could be pretty good. Reduces the crew required. That's kind of whatever. Decrease supplies consumption on spacecraft. That could be kind of nice. A new capsule instead of our starting one. That would be kind of nice, I will say. But yeah, none of that's for us at the moment. At the bottom, we have terraforming, and then we have planetary habitat. So a lot to say there, but needless to say, while the tech tree doesn't look gigantic, it is actually kind of meaty. We are researching the Stratos now, and we already talked about the marketplace. Okay, let's actually do a thing. Okay, so we can produce facilities. I'm going to hop on in there. I am going to go a little bit on the greedy side. I know you are shocked and appalled. Hang with me. We are going to try to make that 2022 launch window for Mars. We're going to be playing far ahead of our contracts, but remember, going to Mars isn't exactly a hop to the store situation, especially in the early game. 9 months to a year is like a fast launch window, and it only gets longer from there. So if we want to try to make that, we got to go relatively early. And I would like to do that with 4 Stratos. So in order to make something like that happen, we've got a lot of work that we're going to need to get done. I tried this before with orbital construction. We can make shipyards in space, and they are way more efficient because we don't need to take the thing we build and then get it out. But it's kind of slow at the beginning, so I don't think that's the route we're going to take. We are going to go with some extra construction equipment. This is automated constructors, but they still work while we're on Earth, and this will allow me to build more things at once. How many of these do we want? I'm going to want to keep 1 on Earth almost always. We're going to send 1 to Luna. We're going to send 1 to Mars. We're going to send probably 1 to each of the Martian moons. That'd be 5 of them. Let's start with that. So 5 of those, and as we build them, then they will be able to help build another one. So this will go quite quick, exponential growth there. Other things I want in the really early game, I want to add, where are we at? I'm going to do a second vehicle assembly. If you're not doing a stupid rush thing like I'm doing, I don't think you technically need this. But for what I want to do, I've tried to do it with skipping this, and I could only get 3 Stratos ready by the time it was time to go. So I'm just going to be a little greedy, and I'm going to throw that in there. Next, we are going to need a probe for a relatively early mission. I'm probably going to actually do this much earlier. We'll move him up there because I do want to do these because we are going to need the cash. What else are we going to need early on? Well, I know I'm going to need some orbital construction. I don't think we're going to go super hard on the space dock, at least not at this initial junction. So I think I'm just going to add 1 of those. We'll try to get it up and running and doing its thing relatively early. I am going to need some mobile refineries. Yeah, I'm going to need a mobile refinery, and we're going to want some mining modules. I'm also going to want to send a mobile habitat. You know what? Get me a mobile habitat. Get me a couple mining modules. Yeah, look at this. We're already out of supplies. Yes. So we had starting things. I've already gone through all my alloys with what I've just queued. So let's hop into the global market. Let's buy all of the alloys currently for sale on Earth. Yes. I will take 4K alloys, please. While we're here, I'm gonna want some extra polymers too. How much are you? That would be too much even for my rich blood. Let's bring that down to like 300. That'll get me started at least. I don't think I need anything else from this at the moment. Oh, I did use all my supplies. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll buy that. We'll buy 200 supplies. All right, there's 2/5 of our budget already spent. All right, next, spacecraft. I know that we're gonna need an iris for an early mission. Let's just go ahead and get that built. Launch vehicles. Now, this is where one of our nice bonuses comes. The fact that we have Falcons and Eagles right off the bat, and we have the full reusables is really, really nice. Sparrows are just single-use rockets. This one is not particularly amazing. I'm not going to build any more of these unless I have to for a mission. We are going to get our Eagle. Eagles have 800 tons of lift. The Falcon has 42. We are going to definitely want... I'm just going to keep one for now, but we're going to come back in here. I'm going to want at least 2 Eagles, maybe 3. And for a mission, we will need a Falcon at some point. Okay, we are building a spacecraft. We are building a launch vehicle. Let's go ahead and plan our first mission. This is the planning UI. You have an origin, you have a destination. So we are going to go to... This first one is Earth orbit. We are going to just use an orbital payload container. These are basically just free launch containers, essentially. They're negligible in cost. They can hold up to 1,000 tons, but you are limited by your launch vehicle. What are we going to do? Well, our mission is to send that telescope. So we're going to spin the space telescope. It is 2 tons. We can actually launch, I believe, 8 tons, right? Launch vehicles, yes. Yes, 10 tons. You do not want to be wasting any of your launch capability. So I want to send something else up there with it. What are we going to send? 8 tons. You know what? Let's send some supplies. We'll just get some in space. Essentially, we're just having a cargo container that's floating in orbit or a geocentric orbit up there. And we are using the Sparrow. So here is the details of the mission. Because these are not complex missions, we don't have any things to change here. So, okay, go ahead and do it. That's now a planned mission right here. We could also look at that from here with our scheduled missions. Sometimes you're going to have missions scheduled multiple years in advance, and this is a good way to go find if you need to cancel or tweak them or something. Okay, did I do it? 28 minutes before unpause. Typical babble. All right, we'll go ahead and we're just going to go on 1/5 speed. There is full orbital mechanics, something that we really, really, really always want in space games, and it's very rare because it's really, really high performance cost generally to do that, which I don't know. I guess, couldn't you pre-calculate it? I probably just don't understand something about how it works. In this, what we're going to see is we're going to see these. Essentially, this is just telling us, hey, when Earth arrives here, we have a planned mission that's happening. So when we get to here, we should see a little launch flash, and then we'll be up in Earth orbit. Boom, there we are. We're going up, and we're there. Contract complete. First orbit. Telescope successfully delivered. System checked passed. We're ready to observe objects in outer worlds. $15,000. Literally nothing. Explore Luna. We cannot hope to reach further if we don't start in our closest neighborhood. It's time to send a probe to Earth's companion. Prepare a spacecraft to deliver a probe to Luna. It will allow us to search for resource deposits on the lunar surface. We need to construct an iris. We need to construct a probe. We need to deliver a probe to Luna. Okay. Now, this does... oh, they gave me a second Sparrow. Never mind. I was going to say, I don't know when I'm going to build the launch vehicle for that. But hey, that solved it. Beautiful. All right. Our probe is not yet built, so we're just going to need to have some time go by. Nor is our iris. Go ahead. We'll just go on... What is this? Times 1 speed. We are getting construction equipment built. Again, once that first one's done, we'll be able to build some things in parallel. That'll speed us up. Oh, you know another thing I'm going to really want? Pause me here. I am going to want a launch pad because for whatever reason, we don't actually start with one. And by building this, we're going to reduce our launch cost by 10%. That is actually kind of huge. I want that relatively early. We'll put it right after our vehicle assembly. Yeah, 10% may not sound like a lot, but the fuel values, we start with almost 60 kilotons of fuel. We are gonna chew through that. Absolutely chew through that. I'm almost tempted. Maybe I should even build a second fuel refinery. The thing is, fuel on Earth is not as valuable because I have to launch it into space. And using fuel to launch fuel sucks. Something we are going to do a lot of, but it does suck. Okay, let's let that run. Working on that iris. The iris is done. Okay, we need that probe to finish, so we're going to need a little bit more. So now that we've finished a construction equipment, now we're building two things in parallel. When those finish, then we'll be building three things in parallel. But like I said, there is a point where you can overbuild because Earth can't supply you. So there probably could be a lot more than what I'm doing, but I'm relatively comfortable with this level. Okay, we have a probe ready. Let's go ahead and plan a mission. We are heading to Luna. Important information, spacecraft. Spacecrafts are vehicles designed to travel between planets and orbits. They vary greatly in thrust and efficiency, with some being able to launch from low-gravity worlds unassisted, while others can travel great distances with minimal fuel. They're your primary way of transporting cargo and crew between places. We're going to launch the Iris. Now, the Iris only has 2 cargo capacity. So, despite the fact that I would love to send other things up like we did before, I only have 1 ton of spare space. That being said, it's 1 ton. I'm going to send 1 ton of supplies to the moon. Just prepping for future work, essentially, is what I'm doing here. We are going to use that free Sparrow they gave us. Again, this feels really bad. We're launching a 2-ton cargo with a 10-ton rocket, but this is not a 2-stager or anything, so I can't, there's nothing I can do about that one. We're going to give it the minimal fuel because we don't need to worry about bringing it back or anything. Go for it. All right, and mission is scheduled for March 11th, so in 3 days we will head out. When playing again, we'll see that dot. It also shows you the flight path. And I think this is one of the best illustrations I've ever seen of how lunar flight paths work. This one kind of makes way more sense than a lot of them do, because by the time they get there, the orbit will have it in front. But it looks really weird when like the moon is quote unquote behind us over here and it's trailing us and you're like launching forward to go behind us into the moon. Just not the way the human brain works a lot. It's thinking about orbital mechanics. Luna, explore Luna. Touchdown confirmed. Data feed established. We'll be getting survey data on resource deposits soon. Finding out where the riches lay on the moon. Very nice. Next contract. It's time for the grand return to the moon. Let's construct our most powerful launch vehicle and a spacecraft capable of bringing crew to the moon and back. We might not be the first humans there, but we will make sure that we are the ones who are remembered. So we can see here, they want us to research a Stratos. They want us to construct it. They want us to make a Eagle. We need to deliver a crew component to the moon, and then we need to bring them back within 10 days. So we need a spacecraft. We need a Stratos. So we need the Eagle to complete this. That is what we're going to launch it on. So I'm going to let it do that. Then we will build the Stratos so that we can continue our mission there. I think I need another Iris at some point, but not at the moment. Let's actually make another Eagle right off the bat. I want to make sure I keep our space yards busy. Yeah, we will do that. So we are working on building the Stratos. Once we have it, we need a crew compartment, which we already have. And we're going to go to the moon and back. pretty darn easy. Okay, let's let that go. Got 2 constructors done. Yeah, look at this. Now we're building 3 constructors. Construction equipment complete. Construction equipment complete. All right, we are working on the 2nd vehicle assembly. We are working on the launch pad. That'll be really nice, actually. We'll have that for our first heavy launch. And we're working on some orbital construction stuff. We found metal on Luna with our telescope. So if we were to go to look at Luna, now we can see that, hey, look, there's a deposit of metal. We don't know how good it is, but it's there. We also know about some silicon. We know about some fissiles. Oh, we're actually probing that. So we actually are getting our full details. And our probe's done. Maybe I'll pick it up and bring it back to Earth, and then we'll just reuse it for another mission. I may do that because it doesn't do anything here, and we are paying $10 a day for the probe. Otherwise, I would probably disassemble it at this point. Okay, so on Earth, we are waiting for our Stratos to be complete. Launch pad just finished. Okay, so vehicle assembly is building. Okay, we finished our orbital construction. Yeah, it's fine. Oop. Ooh, okay, I'm glad I caught that. Cancel. I don't want multiples of those. One habitat, please. That could have been rather oopsie. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me pause this. Actually, we'll slow boat it. So, oh man, I accidentally built a bajillion of those. How the heck did I do that? I must have misclicked when I meant to build some mines. That's fine. I'm gonna send one to the moon. I'm gonna send one to Mars. Having them both built doesn't particularly hurt me. Okay, other things I want to do. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start smelting some alloys here. So this is gonna have a $10 upkeep. We're gonna use some of our metal on Earth and some power and some employees, and we're gonna make some alloys. I'm very concerned that we're not gonna have enough alloys to do everything I want to do, so I'll do it myself, basically. We'll go ahead and start doing that. And then I'm going to want to prep some mining modules. This is what I thought I was building when I clicked multiple times. Okay, I'm going to want to send at least 2 to the moon, probably more. These weigh, I just know they're 15 tons each. So my first Stratoses will have 150 cargo space. So that means I could send what? 6? Let's see, 2 would be 30, 60, 90. So I can send 6 of those. Let's go ahead and just build 6. While we're waiting, they're also going to automatically do some mining on Earth. So we'll just get some free resources, I suppose. And we'll just be ready to fling those into space ASAP. I'm also going to need a radioisotopic generator. These are like, kind of think like non-moving part nuclear power generators. We use these on like deep space missions. I think they had one of these in the Martian too. I'm gonna need one of those for Mars, and they are slow to build. So I think, yeah, and they use expensive resources. We'll go ahead and just get that queued up in case I want to do something with that. Okay, and we're waiting for the Stratos as our next big thing here. I do have one Eagle ready. I almost want to just launch it now to get it on cooldown, but I will wait for the Stratos. We'll just try to get that going. All right, various things getting built. Mining module constructed on Earth. Come on, Stratos. Stratos completed. Okay, I am going to go ahead, I think, and just queue up another one just right away. Like I said, I really want to have 4 of these ready in 2022. So I need them ready, and I need them in space, and I need a lot of fuel for them. I think it's about 900 to 1,000 each. So we got work to do. All right, next planned mission, we're going to try to get our contract finished here. We're heading to lunar surface. We're going to use a Stratos. What do we need to send? We need to send people to the moon. 5 crew, please. And that leaves me with 90 tons that I can send. This is kind of a pretty major choice. I think I'm going to send my mobile habitat. We're not going to stay there this time. but this thing is just bloody heavy. It's 80 tons. I just got to send it at some point. So I'm going to send it now. And then we'll go ahead and we'll send 10 tons of supplies too. So we'll have a mobile base and supplies sitting on the moon for when we're ready to do something with it. One thing about having the habitat, in worst case scenario, if you run out of supplies, if your people are in a habitat, they can switch to basically life support mode, where they spend all of their time, you know, growing little like hydroponic plants and maintenance and whatever. So they can't work on other buildings, but they don't die. So that's rather nice, not dying. Mobile habitats also hold 20 people, which is enough for what our early stuff is going to need. So that is a full cargo load, and we're going to send it on an Eagle. Now, unfortunately, an Eagle could move 800 tons of stuff or launch 800 tons, but we can only hold 100. So again, inefficient, but the Falcon only can do 42 tons, which would not lift the Stratos. So a little mismatch here, but it is what it is. All right, we'll do that. Supplies represent food, oxygen, water, and other necessities for human survival in space. They can be made on farms or purchased on Earth. They're required by humans to transport to survive the trip. If they're trapped for an extended period of time without supplies, they'll die. In spacecraft, supplies capacity is low. Load additional supplies in the cargo hold. Humans in habitats consume less supplies. They can also survive without supplies. However, without them, they can't do any work as they're busy trying to keep themselves alive. Okay, now, I don't need this much propellant. This is going to be for the spacecraft, not for the launch. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to overshoot it, and we're just going to take 300 tons of propellant. It takes 100 to get to the moon. I think it takes about 80 to get back. I just don't want to oopsie here when I'm recording. So we'll go ahead and we'll send 300 tons. We'll have a little bit of spare. That's fine. We also could change our supplies here. This is the supplies in the crew compartment, basically. I'm going to full send because I don't want to be eating supplies that I'm taking to the moon anyways. So we'll go ahead and do that. Amount of fuel. Oh, that's right. They won't let me do that on this first one. Yeah, sorry. We'll go ahead and send us a full supply this time, but we'll definitely be shaving that down. Okay, and off we go. Once we hit here, we're going to launch for the moon. Yeah, here, this is a weird one, see? It's very trippy, at least to me it's trippy. So we're launching and we're flying away from the moon, but the moon is going to catch up to us because it's orbiting so quickly. We're trying to catch up to the moon. All right, now, one of the cool things we can do here, I just want to show this. We can plan another mission. So we're going to go from Luna. Let me think. Do I want to take this back down to Earth? Yeah, I guess that's fine. Back to Earth. And we're going to use the Stratos, which is currently flying from Earth, to do that. And we're going to leave the mobile habitat. On the, okay, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to do this because I want to make sure these land on the surface. We'll just plan that when we actually get there. But in the future, you can pre-plan missions, so I could just kind of automate the next step here. I'm fighting the tutorial I tried to turn off, is what's happening. All right, we are on the surface. Now we need to bring the crew back within 10 days. So we're going to immediately plan a mission. We're going to send it to regular Earth, not Earth orbit. We're going to use the Stratos that's here. We are going to bring the crew capsule with all the people in it. Launch vehicle, we don't need one because the Stratos does have engines and this is low enough gravity for it. Yeah, here we are. So the propellant, I'm going to take the minimum and we'll just leave some here in case we have oopsies later. And for food, I don't need 180 days. I frankly don't even probably need 10, but we'll send 10 days of supplies, assuming that the tutorial will let me. And we'll leave the rest here. So we have 11.6. Remember, I sent, I believe it was 10. So those other supplies were in the compartment here. We'll bring just enough to get us back to Earth. And actually, let me back up here. Let me grab that probe too. It's already done its job. I have to pay $10 a day for it. So we'll bring it back to Earth and we'll just reuse it for the Mars mission. I would like to leave this in orbit, but if I don't do exactly what this is saying, it's not going to complete and it'll just be super annoying. So we will relaunch. It's only a ton. It's not a huge problem. And unfortunately, there's nothing else here for me to take. So no resources to bring home. Okay, and they're planning to head home. Couple days to launch to prep the launch. Mining module done on Earth. Okay. We are still building 3 things. That's fine. I kind of want to keep those busy, but I also need to watch my budget. All right, we are building. No, we're refabbing the Eagle, and we're building second Eagle. That's fine. And we're back. Lunar landing. The crew landed successfully with no issues. The news is already talking about this. We made history today. It's been decades since anybody achieved it. Yeah, so I landed. The builders landed on the moon in 2020 in the better timeline. All right, now's when things start getting a little more spicy. So we have a contract to explore Mars. So here's the thing about that. I'm not going to run this mission, but let's just show it. So we come here. Let's just plan as a hypothetical. If we wanted to send that probe to Mars. All right, well, we could send it on an Iris. We would use a probe. And let's say we had a Sparrow to launch it. There's launch windows. So just like it kind of is a mind bend when you look at how the trajectory of us flying to the moon, because like in a human mind, at least for most people, you imagine that like you're shooting straight at the moon, right? And you just need to go really fast because it's far away, but you're not. You're flying to where it's going to be in the future when you get there. And that's what this is kind of showing us here. An optimal transfer between planets is the least amount of propellant, but the longest time. Such transfers may only be possible every few months or years, depending on the alignment of planets you travel between. You can shorten the transfer time, but that requires significantly more propellant. Using the fastest option selects the transfer that will reach the destination the soonest, based on your current total propellant. You can also choose a different transfer time by clicking on the pork chop plot, the most delicious of plots. So here, if we went optimal, we would want to be ready by the in 2022, July 26. So you can see I have essentially a year and a half before that would even open up. If we went with fastest, I would need to be ready by March 16th. So really by like March 1st is when I need to have my stuff around Earth ready to go so that I have it ready to launch on optimal window. So there's really no point in me planning this at the moment. Yeah, so I do need to build that vehicle and I do need to build that vehicle, but I don't have to necessarily send them. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do those things yet, but I will do those things. So let's... I guess it's such a short build. That's fine. Takes a month to build an Iris. And then down here, I will build... I'm a little bit torn. I kind of want a third Eagle, but a third Eagle is a little bit of overkill. But then again, I'm going to feel really stupid if we don't make our launch window. Let's overkill it. And then we'll build a Falcon. And that will complete most of this. And then I'll just need to get that probe to Mars. All right, next one is the space dock. Now that one I'm a little bit more prepared to do at the moment. So let's head over to Earth. Let's go ahead and plan a mission. We want to go from Earth to Earth orbit. We are going to use just a payload container. I don't need to use my Stratos. This is where having the multiple rockets is really nice because I don't want my stuff just sitting around. I want it out and doing things. We got a budget to make, man. But for this one, we're going to use a cargo container. Now remember, this has 1,000 room, but my vehicles can only lift 800 tons. We need to deliver the orbital construction. We need to deliver 150 alloys. We need to deliver 50 tons of polymer. We need to deliver 25 electronics. Again, when you're doing these missions, take them pretty literally. If I sent up 5 now and 20 later, it won't complete this for some reason. Another feedback for the dev, that's really dumb. If I deliver 5 and then I deliver 20, I delivered 25. So it needs to be able to recognize and add those things together. Just like a mission that says deliver or procure, that same mechanic should apply here. Just feedback there. Okay, so those are the things I would need to build a orbital shipyard. which we are definitely going to do. Now, I think I could probably squeeze one Stratos out from up here before 2022 March. So I want to send a Stratos. So let's actually look. For a Stratos, I need 120 more alloys. So that's going to be 270. I need to have 20 more polymers. So that's going to be 70. And I need 20 rare metal. Do I want to send up enough to build another one? Probably, because I am going to want to build more. So let's do that one more time. So another 120 would be 390. Another 20 polymers would take us to 90. These are not using electronics. Rare metal. Another 20 would take us to 40. All right, so this is the supplies to build a space dock and the supplies to queue up 2 Stratos up there. And that only puts us at 595 pounds. So if that was 600, I have 205 tons left. Let's start bringing fuel up. 205. 800 tons. We're going to launch it on an Eagle. Go. So, yeah, January 7th, that will launch. Okay. Good to go there. Next, I want to start getting some more stuff over on the moon. So let's plan another mission. This is going to be to Luna. We want to use a Stratos for that. All right, now I would like to get 1 construction equipment. I would like to bring my mobile refinery, and I would like to bring, this is not all going to fit. I would like to bring my mining, so I can bring 4. It's not the worst. Okay, and then let's bring 10 alloys. We're going to want a solar panel. Solar panel is 50 glass and 10 alloys. Let's just get the alloys up there. That's my full 100. We're going to launch it on an Eagle. Okay, let me think here a little. So 300 should do me. I hope Babble's math is right in his head, or he'll feel rather foolish. Okay, that is off and running. Yep, go. All right, so we're gonna be taking stuff up to space. Lickety split. And actually, I guess I could actually pre-plan this time. So from Luna, I want to plan. We're going to go back to Earth orbit with the Stratos that's coming here. Let me make sure. I'm a little nervous on these ones because I don't like what they're saying. Well, we dropped on this. Okay, no. They're wanting me to drop on assist orbits. We're going to have to actually land on this. I don't have the continuous mission thing unlocked yet. That would let me do what I want to do. Okay, on January 29th is the launch date for that. And that's because our rockets are not ready to go. There's a, I think it's for these 65 days. It takes us to like refurbish and refuel and everything. Get up and running. Okay, so 67 days and 48 days. All right, let's speed that up a little bit. And we can zoom out if we want, and we'll see visually when that's going to happen. So there's that January 7th date. I believe that's taking stuff up to the orbital for our space dock. This is kind of why I want one extra Eagle. We have 3 of them that are coming and going. New offer to buy some oxygen. Oh, we're probably also not building. I probably should get on that. Okay, so we have all the things that we need to build now. We're going to click the orbit. We're going to click build. And we want to build an orbital shipyard. 150 days. I hope we can squeeze 1 Stratos out up here. Making that 4 goal would be really, really nice to me. Would be really nice. Okay, so that is now being worked on. This is kind of sort of being worked on and kind of sort of not. Just is what it is. Have we done that other launch yet? Earth, are you... all the way in June? Okay. It must have queued into that rocket. That's okay, though. All right, then I can start sending up the other one. We're going to go to Earth orbit. We're going to use a container. Now, for this one, I'm just going to take fuel. I can only bring 800 with an Eagle. January 26th. Okay. Yep. Yeah, we want to keep those Eagles on cooldown, essentially. Constantly getting them going. Iris is getting built. Stratos is getting built. Okay, up here. Let me think for a second. So I would like to take 2 more mining modules to the moon. Let's go ahead and build. We have 4.5 million almost. I want to just drop another fuel refinery. No, let's not. Okay, mining modules. I said I could fit 6 of these in a single Stratos. So let's go ahead and get those. So these are really expensive, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's going to be the 6 that I send to Mars. If I build them now, we can do a little resource collection on Earth while we're waiting. We already have our constructor that we're going to send. I am going to need crew compartments. I'm going to need to send 20 people, so I'm going to need 3 of those. I already have 1. They're 5 people each. We can also use that to take people to the moon if we get a minute. I don't want to do a mobile refinery because we're going to build an actual refinery on Mars. So let's actually do a little thinking here. A refinery is 5 people. A water extractor is 5 people. And we'll probably do 2 metal bases, which is 5 and 5. So that would be 20 people. Or we'll do 1 metal. No, that leaves no one to do the farm. We'll probably do 2 metal bases, 2 metal mines there to get us started. We can use the metal for a lot of buildings that we're going to need. So we'll get some people there, and then they will build out for the second wave of people to arrive. So none of that's things I need. That's just metal. We'll in situ that. The fuel refinery, I'm going to have to send some rares, but we can otherwise in situ that. Oh, we're going to need to work our solar panel too, aren't we? RIP. All right, but again, things we're going to have to send over. Nothing I can pre-build. I'm just thinking if there's anything else I care about. I think that's basically it. May consider some more mining modules, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get them out. Maybe I'll send a second set to Luna. But we're not at that point yet. Well, all right, screw it. We're going to do it. Let me get, just so I don't have to click that button every time. Buy. I don't know why it starts on max. It's a little weird. Give me 60 electronics. And we will do mining module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Building them now just lets me get resources here. So rather be on top of that than not. All right, Earth. We just sent some more stuff into orbit. So we have 1 kiloton of fuel. We have the supplies to build 2 Stratos. We are working on the shipyard, which is 32% done. Excellent. That's all I have to say. Excellent. All right. Eagle. Okay, we do have the Iris ready. Maybe we grab 1 Sparrow. I don't know. It's such a waste. It's such a waste to build a rocket just to launch the probe. If I could just put it on a different ship. Whatever. 40 metal's nothing. We'll go ahead and we'll queue in 1 Sparrow there too. All right, if we finish this Stratos, yeah, because look at our time. January, February, March. Yeah, we are 1 year out from that window. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and queue another Stratos here. We shall see. We shall see. We can get that done. I really want that 4. I'm going to be really disappointed with myself if we only end up with 6. Let time run here a little bit. 10 days until our next Eagle is ready. We'll just let it get ready here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ready. Okay. Planned mission. We are going to Earth orbit. So again, I think I need 900 to 1,000 fuel for these Mars missions. Let's get that fuel up there. 800 tons on an Eagle. Okay. Well, pretty much just take care of itself. 71 days of cooldown. 5 days. 2, 1, good. We're going to Earth orbit with a payload of fuel. 800 on an Eagle. Okay. Okay, I am also going to just hide these resource deposits. I'm not doing anything that matters if I know details about those at the moment. 45 days, 62 days. How we doing in construction? Okay, 40 days left, 30 something days left. Okay, about the time this Eagle's ready to go again. I think we're going to try to prep for that mission as hard as possible. So we're going to ignore basically everything else. Okay, that's ready to go. Let me look at my actual numbers here. 2.6, so we still definitely need more fuel. All right, so same thing again. Normally I'm not quite this repetitive on missions, but we're kind of on a time, a heavy time crunch to make this launch window. If we don't make this window, the next one is in 2024. So I really do want to try this. We are so far ahead. By the way, you haven't seen the AI launch anything yet. I don't think. Oh no, I guess they did launch some stuff here. So they basically did what I did, but I also brought along extra food. They left somebody there, interestingly enough. I wonder why they did that. They're living in the capsule that uses up supplies quite heavily. And they're not doing anything, so yeah, I don't know why the AI would do that. Rather silly to me. All right, that's some more fuel. I think we need one more fuel mission. I do have... Okay, no. I was gonna say the Stratus is almost ready. Maybe we could do something, but I'm not gonna wait. Okay, so again, look at my fuel. I think we're gonna do one more fuel launch, and that will be enough. It's gonna take a lot less fuel if we're launching our Stratos from being in orbit than it will from ground launching, because we're already out of the grav well, essentially. All right, orbital payload. 800 fuel. We're about 9 months out from our launch. On an Eagle. Okay. 18 days. We'll know when this finishes because my mission will finish. There we go. Oh, that really needs to pause. This window makes the interactions happen here, and the spacebar, which is normally paused, doesn't do anything. Spacebar should always pause the game. Just that should be the only function. The dock is ready. This is where we will build our future interplanetary vehicles and set off for further space excursions. There are some things you can't launch, like a solar sail needs to be built in space, for example. New contract, Lunar Depot, and required to unlock humans on Mars. Unlock cyclical missions, thank goodness. Lunar Depot. It was once said that once you're in orbit, you're halfway to anywhere. This makes it the ideal place for a refueling point for any flights to the outer system. To keep the dock stocked, make sure to set up a cyclical flight from the fuel production base on places such as Luna or Deimos. It's cheaper than launching fuel from Earth's surface. We need to deliver a mobile refinery to Luna, deliver a mining module to Luna, and it wants us to plan a cyclical mission. Okay. I would like to do this one. I think we do have time. 12 days on that Eagle. 26 days on that build. Okay, we're kind of coming down to the wire here, guys. Let's get this done, eh? I think we are gonna go ahead and do this one, so we'll wait for this to finish. Oh, also, hang on. I didn't queue it up. I just wasted like 2 days. Okay, we would like a spacecraft, Stratos, and I'll just queue both of them. We'll see if this actually gets done. So 180 days would be what? 6 months? I mean, that says that one of these will be ready. So I was right. I'm going to need 3 from Earth doing it this way. We could have done something where maybe we built 2 orbital shipyards, and then I could build 2 up here. That would be another way to do this. Maybe that would be more effective. All right, from the planet, are we good? We're good. Give me my planned mission. Actually, hang on a second. What is going on with that planned mission? What is your problem? June 29th. Okay, tomorrow. And you are taking, I think you're taking everything I need, right? So we're a little ahead of what it wants us to do, but we're sending construction, we're sending the mobile refinery, and we are sending okay, that will finish this mission essentially. So I am actually a little bit ahead. Do I want to send the other one? I think I do. Okay, hang on. Let me let that launch so I don't mess something up. Okay. You're off and running. So let's plan another mission. We're heading to Luna. We're going to use one of our Stratos. Okay, now I want to send 50 tons of glass. We already sent the alloys, so that's enough to build my solar panel over there. Let's send... Let me actually look at this. So we have a mobile habitat. We're going to do a solar array for energy. We want to build a habitat, but we're going to build that out of metal that we locally source. Metal mine, same thing. If we wanted to build an actual fuel refinery, we would need 10 more rares. Okay, let's send 10 rares. The rest of it's regular metal that we can just source locally. And I would like to do a glass kiln, but that's 300 alloys. That's probably a little optimistic. Okay, then let's look at the research laboratory to build that. You can only have 1 laboratory per celestial body, so that's why I only built 1 on Earth. So we would need 10 more rares. We would need 10 electronics, which I don't have any. All right, let's buy another, I don't know, 100. And actually, do you guys have any alloys? 1.3 million. Yeah, I'm gonna buy all the alloys in the world again. Probably why the AI is like, what the heck is happening? Okay, and then we needed 10 glass. Okay, we're at 80 out of 100, and then let's just top off with another 20 supplies. Okay, so we're sending the... Oh, hang on. Glass 60. I don't think that matters, but just for my own sake. So that is the glass needed for research and a solar panel, the rares needed for research and a fuel refinery, and the supplies needed A, to live, but B, to also build the habitat, an actual habitat. I here's kind of where it's like, I assume this is like air scrubbers and pipes and water stuff and food, some small food growth areas, etc., etc. So that has that going on an Eagle. Now I would like you to take 300 fuel. I'm definitely over fueling these, but I don't want to get stuck, especially on camera. Okay, this mission is essentially already in progress. That mission is going to take the next stuff. We are 6 months out from wanting to go to Mars. Is Babel going to make it? Is Babel going to make it? Okay, we are... That's going to be so bloody close. Okay, they are working on that. Spacecraft arrived at Luna. Okay, so... we look here. The food, the glass. Okay, good. Why have you not launched yet? This must have grabbed one of the launch vehicles that was like refueling or something. That's weird to me. This other mission got here first. Doesn't hurt anything, but just weird. Watch your timings if you're moving people around. Okay, let's plan a mission. All right, this is going to be from Luna to Earth orbit as a cyclical mission. I'm not actually going to do this one, but if I plan it, it will complete this. Cyclical missions are a way to plan recurring missions between two locations. Assigned spacecraft, launch vehicles, and facilities will automatically perform missions according to set parameters. You can set what resources will be transported from one location to the other, whether the flight should utilize the fastest available transport or fly optimally, and how many times or until when the cycle should occur. Okay. Next, it's going to be a Stratos. And they want me to take fuel. So add resource fuel, wait until you're full. Wait until cargo is full. We'll just available. And we'll do this with the optimal, and it never ends. Actually, no, after 3 is what they want. Okay, that finished that. I don't actually want to do that mission, but we just got that done. Okay, for realsies, what I want is I would like to go to... Now let me think here. But if I want to bring some people to the moon, which we're actually kind of at the point where I would consider that, I would need a Stratos to do it. The thing is, I think my timing is getting too tight. Let's just plan. Let's just go to Earth orbit. I can always land if I change my mind here. We will do the Stratos. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. I can always land if I change my mind. No launch vehicle needed. We'll take the minimal fuel. Yeah, this only needs 35. So it's 120 to get out here, and it's 35 to get home. So I might lower that from 300 I've been doing, maybe down to like 200. But for now, we'll just take the 35. I want to leave a lot here for later purposes. All right, so that's heading home. That one's going to launch relatively soon. And then Earth itself. What are you working on? We're building that one in orbit. We're building a Sparrow. I guess that's fine. All right, we are Falcon finished up on Earth. I'm just thinking if there's anything I can use that for at the moment. Not really. We're basically just doing that to check this off. I really wish it didn't make me build a Falcon. Kind of pointless, frankly. Okay. Let that go. Okay, we have that one in orbit. How are we doing on our Eagle fleet? So we have one ready in 6 days, one ready in 52, one ready in 23. All right, I think I can go greedy here. All right, you in orbit. Let's plan. Let's have you just come on down. Down to Earth. The Stratos. You don't need to do anything. Don't need to do anything. Come on down. And they land. Okay, then here, we can take one more trip out to the moon, I think, with enough time left. I'm just being really, like, eyeing that. Okay, let's just do it. All right, so we're going to go from the Earth to Luna. All right, now on this one, we need all 4 of these. That's going to be 20 people to the moon. What else would I like to send? I think I just send a bajillion supplies so we don't have to worry about that while I'm tinkering with the Martian stuff. I did want to bring 2 more of these. That takes it up to 6. And that leaves quite a few that could end up going to Mars. That leaves me with 30 left. All right, the 30 tons of supplies is a lot. That'll keep us good for a long time. So we're going to go up on an Eagle. All right, there's the 120. The lighter I make this, the less fuel we need to launch. Look at this number here. If I take a bunch, look at, that's like triple the cost. This is why you don't want to be launching fuel like this if you can help it. But that should get us there and back again. And I have some supplies at the moon if we need it. All right, do it. We're going to put boots on the ground. On the moon. Oh, look, I love to see it. Stuff flying all over the place. Spacecraft arrived at Luna. Okay, so there are my 20 people. Man, what the heck happened with this mission? And why? Uh-oh. Why didn't my mobile fuel refinery make it there? Awkward. Excuse me? Very awkward. Okay, well, I do need to deliver it. I was gonna say maybe I'll just build it locally. Not gonna happen though. Starting at Earth. Okay, hang on a second. Oh, I see. That mission still has not launched. I don't know what the heck I did on that one. Something wrong, obviously. All right. 2022. Okay. Obviously something's wrong on that one. Hang on a second. No. Yeah, I definitely fubbed up something on that. All right, the guy on the moon. Let's plan a mission. You are gonna go back to Earth. You need to bring the crew compartments, and I don't want any crew brought back. This is another place that really needs some UI. What I'm doing here is what you have to do. You add it, and then you bring everyone off. I feel like instead of doing this, like having one that's times however many you're gonna send would make more sense. And it should carry on, it should inherit the changes if you're gonna do it this way. All right, we're gonna bring those 4 cargo compartments back. We don't need a launch vehicle. We need 53 tons because now we're bringing some weight with us to do that. Okay, and then Earth. I don't know what the heck your problem is. Launch from Earth to Luna. We're gonna use a Stratos. We want the mobile refinery. We want 2, 3, 4. 4 of those. You know what? Just bring 5. There you go. That's a full load. And Luna already has... Yeah, that's plenty of supplies. We are using 0.01 per day. So that's literally 13 years worth of food. I think we're going to be all right. Okay, do that on an Eagle. And again, I said 200 was probably still overshooting it, but let's do that. All right, are you going to do something sane this time? Start on Earth on August 25th. Okay. Yeah, I wish I would have caught that earlier. I don't know what the heck happened there. Queued up something strange. Okay, there he goes, there he goes. Pause. With fuel production on the moon, we have an outpost for further excursions into deep space. Now we can really show what we're capable of. Important info. Energy. Ground facilities require energy to function. Energy is produced in power facilities. Each type of power facility produces a different amount of energy depending on the circumstances. Solar arrays produce more the closer you are to the sun. Wind power only works in atmosphere, while nuclear power provides a lot of energy anyways, but requires a steady supply of fissiles to function. If you don't have enough energy to power all your facilities, they will work at reduced speed. Unused production facilities only consume power when active, so certain buildings on a planet will not always be active, and you could consider constructing batteries to stockpile energy. Okay. All right, so we have another contract. How is my have construction equipment? Oh, did I not send the construction equipment? I bet you I didn't. Okay, grumble. I didn't. I totally didn't. Am I still able to? Just out of curiosity. No, we need some construction equipment even though we have people there. Arrgh. Grumble. Okay, you. Plan a mission. Back to. That's why I had that weird number of automatic mines. It's because I needed 5 kilos for the constructor. It's all right. Okay, head back to Earth. Nothing back. Go. Okay. How are we looking? We're coming down to the wire here. 110 days. So that's going to be 3 months. Okay, you're going to kind of make the window. You're going to be kind of towards the edge of it. On Earth. I don't know if I'm going to get my magic 4 number. All right, head on back. Okay, you. We have... The Sparrow is here. Okay, let's get this one set up. I don't think I'm going to fight the tutorial on it, so let's just set that up kind of sort of how it wants. I want to go from Earth. We're going to go to Mars. We're going to use the Iris with the probe, and we have 1 ton of extra space. We will take 1 ton of supplies. We're just going to use the Sparrow to fling that. So here, that wants to fly in June 22nd of 2022. Or July 12th. And I think an optimal or a fastest on that one makes sense. It's like 1 ton of fuel because it's so light. We're just going to do that. Okay, so I've got 2 Stratos here. We are building the 3rd, and we are building the 4th. We might make it. It's going to be bloody close. Okay, so I think I'm just going to plan these from ground launches for these guys. We're not going to try to be too cheeky here. So that would be 3 launches. Okay, so I need to send 1 more Eagle up before that happens. And basically the thing in orbit is going to need stuff to take with us. Okay, so I need to just think pretty carefully here. Let's go ahead and plan that mission right now. We're going to go to Earth orbit. This is going to be a payload container. All right, we need, let's make sure, this is where, like, you can't be wrong. All right, we're going to take the power. We're going to take some construction equipment. That's 10 tons. Now, I want to calculate out only to 100, because remember, the Stratos can only carry 100. Let's go ahead and we'll have you take the habitat. That leaves me with 10 extra tons. I think we will take 10 tons of alloys. Okay, so that is what we're going to take on the Stratos. I still have 700 space left. It looks like we're doing Earthbound launches for the rest of these, not space ones like I kind of wanted to. It just is what it is. Do I still want to take some fuel up there? Probably. Yeah, let's just take fuel. We'll take 700 fuel up there. It'll become useful at some point. And we want to take an Eagle. Okay, do it. I can't believe that I messed up and didn't bring that constructor to the moon. That's so frustrating. Okay, that is in space. Let's actually plan out that mission and see if we can do that. So you... 90 days. No, we're going to make it just fine. That's going to be in like January. 80, 85, 90, 100. That is what they are taking. So that is going to be good to go. I need to remember that I am taking the 10 alloys. So from Earth, we have 2 Stratos, and you're going to be done in 120 days. You're going to be cutting it really close, but otherwise fine. Okay, and all my Eagles will definitely be ready within that time frame. Let's go ahead and plan. Okay, from Earth, we are going to go directly to Mars with a Stratos. We are going to bring, let's bring the people on this one. So 20 people are going to take that. That leaves me with 60 tons of stuff. Let's bring the 60 glass that we're going to need. That's going to be for a solar panel. I don't think they're particularly good on Mars, but I think I have a mission that's going to want me to build one, and 10 extra for the research. Okay. So that is the solar panel done. That is the people on the way. We're going to use an Eagle to launch that. And we're probably going to do optimal. We did this optimal. Okay, that's a July 26th when we get there on July 1st. If we do this with fastest, that's all the way down in September, and we would get there in November. I don't want to arrive before anything else does. I think we're going to do these all as optimals. Uh-oh. Missions long 10 days requires supplies. Okay, because my people are on here, I'm going to need extra supplies. Right. Okay, that's fine. Instead, we'll do 50 glass and 10 supplies there. Use the Eagle. Optimal launch. Yeah, we have 2 years worth of food, basically. Okay. Okay, so my next mission needs to include 10 glass. So, mission type, we're going to Mars in a Stratos. Before I forget, 10 glass. I believe we want 20 rares. We want basically the same buildings we wanted on Luna, so that's kind of nice. Should I set up the alloys? I don't think I sent up any alloys. We're going to want 10 alloys. Let's double check myself here. Okay. Oh, that's 100 alloys to build that. Maybe we don't care about that so much. Yeah, the 10 rares would be for the fuel refinery. Yeah, maybe we just knock that down to 10. Okay, 10 tons of glass, 10 tons of rare metal. Okay, and then we're gonna want the mining modules. Mining module. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can fit 5 more tons. We'll knock in 5 tons of supplies. On an Eagle. Optimal route. Again, the weights are going to change some things here. So this will arrive in 2023 in June 27th. That's fine. Okay, and then we have one more to go. Okay, so that's my probe. This one is people and 50 tons of glass and some food. This one is some more food. Okay, I definitely want some more supplies. The extra glass. Okay, I do need 10 alloys to build that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is the third Stratos. We are heading to Mars. With the Stratos, we need the 10 alloys. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking some metal would really kickstart things. I'm really torn on that. The metal would be one way we could go. That would allow me to really get things up and running a little bit quicker. I don't know necessarily if that's worth our time or not, though. Maybe it is. Maybe we just send the supplies. I don't even have farming unlocked, so that is one thing that's a little bit worrying. We are currently getting the cargo. 90 extra supplies would make this really, really safe. Because remember, our next transfer window isn't until 2024. We're counting on the local mining to be able to do a lot, which we should be fine. It should be fine. All right, let's just hope I counted everything correctly. That's our final Eagle. We will optimally launch that, arriving around the same time as everyone else. Okay. Okay, that is everything except this guy. So let's go ahead and play. We're not running any other missions at the moment, so we can kind of just zippy zip here. I might even just speed that up. We'll really zip through here. What are we at? Oh man, you guys are getting major bonus time for our first episode. I did want to kind of show off what the game is like, and I think that this is like the very beginning of the game. So episode 1 here is basically going to be us getting our missions planned to Mars, and then next time we will see how well Babel did and see if he can do some basic math while recording. Your guess is as good as mine. Okay, our Stratos has 0 days left. There it is. All right, 1 orbital Stratos. So if we did want to do 2 from orbit, we totally could do that. I would have just need to sent up 2 construction, doubled that up, and then doubled up the orbital shipyards, and we would make that all right. Good to know, just for future reference for myself. Now, do remember, we are playing Sol X. If you were playing somebody else, you would probably look differently than what we've been doing here. Okay, we are heading to Mars. We are using a Stratos. And we need to bring the construction equipment, the habitation, and the power. We have 10 extra. Oh, there was my 10 alloys. Shoot. All right, I am probably going to redo that other one. 10. Next. Optimal. Gets us there. Actually gets us there a little later than the people. That's not the worst ever. That's way too soon. That's not the worst ever, but our people would be sitting there using up other supplies. Okay, I'm moving on the plot here. Okay, that looks a lot better. I think they're all arriving on... Do I just fastest this? Okay, that is only a couple days. I'm okay with that. So we would arrive on July 27th. Let me just double check our other missions here. July 26th, July 24, July... Okay, that's totally fine. That's close enough. All right, now I do need to do the one that has alloys. I want to make a change on that. So Mars 3, no. Mars 4. Yeah, Mars 4 needs to change. Okay, let's reschedule that one. So this is going to be from here to Mars on a Stratos. Okay, I don't need to send the alloys. We could really kickstart ourselves with some metal. All right, let's send 50 tons of supplies. Right, because if we look at Luna here, Luna has 60 supplies and that is 13 years. That is that's probably far too much. Let's send like 30. And then let's send, I hate sending metals because we can locally supply them, but the faster we can get an actual metal mine up and running, then we can actually produce more metal and then more things. Like it's just getting that pump primed. So I think I'm going to do this. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe we should send more valuable things. I mean, we could, that would take us over. I was gonna say, we could try to send those 100 alloys for the research lab, but then we would need the rares, then we would need the glass. Yeah, that has a little bit of a knock-on effect. Let's do this. This is fine. And we're gonna send that on an Eagle. And we're heading out in July and we're arriving in June. This is fine. 2026. Okay, let's zoom out here. I just want to make sure. Yeah, everybody's launching there and then they are arriving when it hits there. So we are getting, or no, other way around. We're launching there and we're heading over there. So that is 2022 and we're in the first month. Yeah, so we actually ended up, our launch dates are a little different. That's all right. 206 days. Man, if we got the cargo bays before they left, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right, let's zoom. I want to get to the point where we're at least launching. We can really zoom. If that pops up before they head out, that would be rather interesting because that would give me 50% more cargo. We were so close. We were so close to being able to do that too. 83 days. Yeah, we would miss our launch window by like a month. Oh, how frustrating is that? That would have been hilarious if that had actually gotten done. That's all right. Wave 2 will greatly benefit from that extra cargo capacity. All right, here we go. We've been sponsored to send a probe, but if we're gonna go, you got to do things seriously, builders. So we're gonna send a small 20-man mission to Mars. All of it is a go. All of it is a go. There we are, on our way. And I'm going to leave you in suspense there. So we are on our way. We will arrive in about a year on Mars. And we will have the first man on Mars. In fact, first 20 people on Mars. And enough supplies to survive and thrive and expand. Now that that is taken care of, we do have one Stratos in orbit. Do I want to do something with you? No, you're being constructed. Never mind. I was gonna say, what the heck? How did he finish there? Yeah, quite nice. Now that that's all taken care of finally, we're gonna need more ships. Probably not gonna build them on the ground if I can help it. I'm gonna launch stuff into space and we'll build up there. But we can use our Eagles to get things into space. Like that constructor that didn't get moved, unfortunately. But again, we will do that in the next one. All right, guys, this was an extra long one. So really, if you enjoyed yourself, don't forget to leave a like on it. If you want to see some more Solar Express, let me know. If you're not subscribed, hope I've earned your subscription. We got more to come. We do all kinds of content here, so something for almost everybody. If you want to support the channel, you can always leave a super thanks here on a video or VOD. Join me live for a super chat. Consider becoming a member. Members get early access to videos that I'm working on, such as this, but that changes all the time. If you want to leave just a tip, I do have a Patreon linked in the channel info. Speaking of channel info, there's also a link to my Discord. If you're happy to hop on in and we can chat games and whatnot. I also do an @everyone before I go live if you can't count on YouTube's notifications. If you just want to hang out, you can always mute that announcement channel. All right, builders, get out there and fund some space exploration. I will catch you in the next one. Babble out.